Okie dokie, folks. Welcome to Wandering into Wellness. Welcome back, rather, from Meadows in the Mountains. We got a special guest, Bodo.
Hello.
Bodo he works in, the term to cover what he does is universal alchemy, but essentially he, as he'll explain to you, deals in helping people to access elements of their consciousness that maybe otherwise would be left close to them in order to understand maybe their purpose more fully. And his story is amazing, and we haven't really heard it. We just heard a tidbit, so we're going to be learning as you learn. So yeah, Bodo, you just started out there on a. It started with LSD. Let's go there.
Okay, yeah, like back in the days, years ago, actually with my first trip, it opened up a lot of gates for me. You know, it was before I didn't have really fantasy anymore, and when I was sleeping, I didn't really have access to dreams at all. Right. And then it opened that side, first of all, like really like a massive access to fantasy, inspiration, seeing what's possible, reconnecting me to nature. Like I didn't really deal with nature consciously at all, you know, but through several episodes of trips I really reconnected to nature and started to realize that I am part of nature and I'm not separate, and to actually also honor nature and to be grateful and thankful for nature for just being there and being so abundant and giving us these beautiful environments and this nourishing food and and also inspiration and healing, and all comes with nature.
So many people, I think everybody who's taken psychedelic substances like at any point of their life, there's always something about nature there. When they're done in the worst circumstances in urban environments, people go, I got to get outside. There's something, and it just shows that deep primal instinct, doesn't it? It's amazing when people wake up to that. So you found that was obviously something for your personal journey, but then you decided that you wanted to bring that to others as well. It's like
at first, like also besides all of that, like through my experiences, and of course also very extreme experiences, since back in the time was also very much partying. You know, partying was an essential part of my life. It's still in a way, but in a much more conscious way. I was really very unconscious raving.
Pure hedonism.
Pure hedonism on all levels. And so I was also taking lots of different substances and went into other realms, and that opened up also like the stuff that wanted to be healed in myself, you know. So I had to face my shadows, and it was actually a very challenging time. And back in the days, you know, I came to the conclusion, oh man, how do I deal with that? And so I started to meditate, and then I started to try out this and this and this, and looked everywhere, how can I heal myself? And then through this journey of years and years and years and years and years, actually I collected from many different traditions, so from Buddhism to Hawaiian Huna shamanism to Western occultism to so much is out there, like a lot of energy work. I collected bits and pieces everywhere, and then I put it in a pot and mixed it together, and I'm still in this process, you know, like, so I stay open. I don't say, wow, that's it now, but I try, like, if I find something that feels truthful to me, I automatically integrate it into my universe and my practices. And through, of course, through the experience I've been making, I am able now to help and guide people, because the only authentic way to help people to find their inner truth, to find their true way, to find their unique way of healing is actually in yourself having had that yourself had the experience.
Manifested it, or
if it's just a theory you're working from, like a lot of psychologists, or also in the realm of spiritual healing, also a lot of people, but then it's just a theory, then you cannot connect because you never felt how it is in that situation. How do you want to understand that? And through the experience comes the understanding, and with that understanding comes the authentic ability to help and guide other people on their path.
Through there is amazing. So when you you're here obviously conducting a cacao ceremony workshop.
Yeah.
And you're also giving tarot readings as well.
Yeah.
So, and do you bring those different things to different groups of people? How do you decide who do you apply what type of? I mean, I know you do cacao ceremony at parties as well to kind of like at the start of
Yeah.
So how do you decide what applies in what realm or what's appropriate in what realm?
Yeah. First of all, it's important that there is at least a little space of conscious people already in that realm, you know, on that festival.
Yeah.
So, meaning that if there is a healing space, for example, or a ceremonial space, of course, there is already a certain amount of people, at least on the festival, who are taking that stuff serious. Because if I have to deal only with people who are just there for entertainment and fun and not taking it serious, it's just like dragging my energy, and it's not as powerful. You know, of course, a certain amount of people is possible, that's takeable, that are not really into it, and who are trying to experience something. But here there are so many open-minded people. It's important that people are open-minded. They necessarily don't have to have experience in that field, but just that they take it a bit serious and not just do it all for fun.
At this level.
Yeah. And if I'm in a space where it's a lot of alcohol, for example, like it's really difficult. Can
people access stuff still when they've had a drink? Is it like?
If they can stay conscious, that's the thing. Like people turn unconscious when, like most of the people are actually not very conscious, but when they drink, they're getting even more unconscious, and then this is actually this is a really high discipline to stay conscious while being while drinking.
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you still drink? Actually, do you drink alcohol, or have you chosen to leave it alone? Or
I drink alcohol, but then mostly high quality stuff. I love red wine because it's actually also opening up a lot. For me, drinking red wine is very spiritual.
Okay, yeah, good. I'm very permissive.
And so I'm not like at one point on my travel I left my dogmatism at home. You know, I try to stay as maximum open-minded and flexible. And if it is the moment, I drink a beer or I even eat meat or like. But I always feel into what feels truthful for me right now, and I don't judge other people or condemn them because they live out their truth or they don't know better than, you know, like. So each individuals, I believe each individual is on their unique own path, at their right pace, in the right steps. So who am I to judge if someone is doing it right or wrong? Every person is doing it in a way right because every person is on their own path, and some people need a bit longer, some a little bit less, but that's totally alright. And it's about making opening realms to inspire people, to give them the possibility to experience different experiences that are opening them up, but as a free choice, not as like this has to be like this.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Can you tell us a little bit about this cacao ceremony and how did you get into it? How did you hear about it first, and then how has it been for you?
Some years ago I went to Mexico, and then by some ways of synchronicity I ended up in Guatemala at a lake called Lago Atitlan, where one man called Keith, like he actually reactivated the tradition of raw cacao in as a shamanic plant medicine, because actually there were no shamans working anymore with that, and he got the call.
Where is he from?
He's from the States.
Okay.
He went actually out to search for shamans working with cacao, but he couldn't find any. And then he himself got the call to work with the cacao as a spirit or medicinal plant. And I went there and I did 3 ceremonies with him. And I felt really inspired and touched, and it healed a lot, and was really impressed how such a subtle, because the cacao spirit is actually really subtle, but at the same time it's super powerful in its effect if you go in with a strong intent and you have the right setting, you know. So it transformed a lot, and then I went back to Berlin, and suddenly there was this cacao wave starting there. You know, I came directly back from there, and then really it started.
Like you towed it. or surfed it.
And then, you know, other people were providing the start there, and at one point, I don't even know how, in the end, I had to call myself to work with cacao and also create those spaces to give other people the possibility to have the advantages of this plant, like reconnecting to yourself. I had very, very huge problems with opening my heart, for example, and connecting to my emotions. So this is what cacao is absolutely great for, to heal emotional stuff, traumas, but also to open, like it's the medicine of the heart. It really is opening the heart. At the same time, it has also physical capabilities, like there are over 300 vital substances in raw cacao, and a lot of them are working on the heart, so they are strengthening the heart and the vessels, but are also releasing love hormones and stuff like that. So usually at cacao ceremonies, at the end there's always a big love buzz and harmony and people cuddling and so and there's so many more possibilities with raw cacao, like it can connect you to your creativity, to your authentic expression through dance, through singing, through whatever. It depends on the intent and which space you put around and which techniques and traditions you use. It's a very free-flowing spirit. You can use raw cacao with everything from yoga to any kinds of guided meditations, breath work. It's endless. Like
So can you give me an idea, like how do you prepare cacao within a cacao ceremony? I know the cacao itself comes from very specific places for a cacao ceremony. Am I right? It
has to come from places that produce actually real raw cacao. Because if cacao gets heated more than 40 degrees, the whitest substances slowly start to dissolve. And that's what you want to have. So it's such a difference if you have a raw cacao to what gets proceeded in the cacao
mainstream,
in the cacao industry. And also at the same time, if you make sure you get raw cacao, usually the people who produce that stuff, they make sure that cacao is actually grown sustainably in its natural environment, in jungle environment, because then it carries 3 times more than in this monocultural shit. So if
forest farms,
you're not only doing something good for you if you buy raw cacao, but you're also doing something good to expand, to make it happen, that the more organic way to grow cacao can expand, because right now, like most of the cacao comes from really bad monocultures with really bad working conditions, and this is actually also a really important part to talk about in this whole thing, because if we talk about rising consciousness, if we talk about becoming conscious, it's also about becoming aware of yourself within the environment, and also what you consume, where it comes from, and what it creates in the places where it comes from. So I see this as a whole holistic thing, and not like only looking at yourself and your spiritual development. Part of your spiritual development is also to connect to the others out there, you know, and to also care about the others. Of course, first it's you, and then there are the others, but at the same time, you can already do something for the world in watching out what you consume, where does it come from, and making sure that everybody has the possibility to for life in dignity and with joy, you know, and love.
It's amazing. We've spent far too many years taking those, equatorial kind of banned products like coffee and cacao, extracting them like viciously, taking the resources to the northern hemisphere and then putting all the adding all the value up there. So what when you're preparing cacao within a cacao ceremony, how do you consume it? What's the nature of the consumption of cacao? Is it in a drink? Is it like, how do you?
There are some people who do it also with the raw cacao beans, but basically the natural substance I get is a cacao mass.
The paste.
It's a plate. Like a, how do you say?
Liquor.
No,
liquor, like paste.
No, it's like you have to imagine a huge chocolate bar.
Yes.
It's like a 1 kilo or 5 kilo.
Yeah.
Usually, and usually the size and the thin, and then depending on the people. So for a person, I take like a ceremonial dosage for a cacao ceremony is 40 grams.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
And
specific.
So it's very specifically. Because it's so potent, you know, you have to imagine like it's a total nourishing bomb for the body.
Yeah.
And yeah, 40 grams is actually enough. Some people take less because it depends also how sensitive you are. If you're already very sensitive, you might need less. Some people are sometimes just in the room and are smelling and already boom.
Really?
Some people are very resistant to it and they drink like 3 cups, you know, like.
Wow.
And but it all depends on your sensitivity, and of course how you're built, you know, your body mass and everything. And then, you know, I chop it up. I heat a little bit of water, like so that it's between 40 and 50 degrees. It's not really easy to stay with this underneath 40 degrees.
I know, it's tough, yeah.
So
you want to melt it. Cacao liquor or cacao fats are very solid, eh?
And so then I put it in and I wait until it dissolves, and then I put the rest of the liquid, and I add also usually some coconut milk to make the taste round in the end, and cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
Or any other kind of chili, because chilies, they open up the bloodstream, and so the active ingredients of the cacao can get faster in. And also I put some cardamom and cinnamon, a tiny bit of salt, but just a tiny bit. You have to be aware with that.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, I don't. Usually some people do also some like coconut blossom sugar or something, but I usually put this aside if really someone needs it. But what I usually say is find the sweetness and the bitterness. In the end, it's also medicine, and we are so junked on sugar that our bitter taste buds are actually really underdeveloped. So get used to it. And bitter means healthy, you know, like it's really good for your body, very nourishing. I love bitter, so I don't have a problem with it. And
that's true. I've grown to love it. Did you grow up around? Wow, we've got people lighting dragon. Are we okay? So did you grow up with parents or a family who were like exploring these kind of like cultural references, or were you in a very straightforward?
No, like my parents actually have no cultural background or roots and all of that stuff. It all came at one point through the psychedelic experience to me, you know.
Great. It's amazing.
Like this has been the basic foundation. Like then also I started to consciously work with LSD or magic mushrooms and also for healing myself. But now I'm at a point where I actually almost have released all of that except for cacao.
Interesting.
Because I just don't need it anymore. I have to have enough techniques and enough. For myself, I'm at a point where I know how to deal with the things I want to deal with, and bam. Like it's really thankful for being able now to be in that state. It feels really free because I'm not so much anymore in a space where I need
to take things externally.
But it's inside.
That's great.
And that's how I see psychedelics as a very important factor in transformation and work, because they show, of course, for the people who are ready for it. You have to feel ready for it. I don't say it's the medicine for everybody. It's with everything. Find your own truth. Look inside if this is resonating with you and if it feels right. But it has the capacity to show what is possible. For example, it showed me how energy works, how I move energy, and so I could move much more easily into energy work. I got so many insights and realizations that I then I had that it's like a quick step or like a trailer of what's possible, and then once you know what's possible and you experience it, you can reproduce the experience much easier than trying to do it yourself. So this was my quick shot into that realm, and of course over some years, but
that's great.
Yeah,
amazing.
Can I ask, what does it look like, the cacao ceremony? For people who don't know anything about it, they've maybe even never heard of a cacao ceremony. They go into a room, you make the cacao drink, and then what happens?
So the cacao is usually prepared if I'm on time.
Ditto, well, that's 3 of them in this group.
And then it can really, what I'm telling now is not valuable for everyone, because there's so many different styles, you know. Also dance meditation and stuff like that. What I usually do is I have a cooperational partner depending on the length. So if I do a full-on ceremony for 3-4 hours, I usually have a cooperation. If I'm with myself, and I'm doing a shorter one for a party or something, I usually do like I do a little introduction into cacao, also asking who never had raw cacao, and I talk a bit about it, what it does to you, and a little bit about the history. And meanwhile, the people get handed in the cacao, and then it's all about the intent. You know, like it's very important. That's what I learned through the cacao, is the intent. Also in your life, if you have no intent, anything happens. If you have a strong intent, you focus your energy at one spot, and everything is driving you towards that spot.
Very much so.
So you need a strong intent, and then we usually like I let people find the intent and bring the cup to the heart, and because it is the medicine of the heart, and through the heart you also have the capacity to connect to anything. You know, it's your center in your body, and also especially in your energetic body, and it's a connection to the world. And so they connect to it, tell the intent, and then we cheer together and we drink it. Then I would usually do some breath work. Usually do a very specific tantric breathing to activate the first 4 chakras. I don't know if everyone knows what chakras are on the. So it's opening the capacities of these chakras, and the good thing is also about cacao is, like, for example, if you do breath work or movement, the movement and breath work are activating the capacities of the cacao more. At the same time, the capacities of the cacao are activating the potential of the breath work or body work or whatever you're doing with much more. And then I let the people fly a bit, and I usually also integrate a guided meditation inside. Because from my experience, if you do things inside in a like shamanic trance state, or like in this guided meditation, it's a form of trance, and you shift things in there, like you go through imaginary worlds where you release stuff and you invite stuff and you ground yourself, like imagining you're a tree. That's what I usually do, to ground the people and then let them fill up with new energy. It really reflects at the same time to the outside. So the things you do inside, they move directly outside. It's a very, very powerful tool I really love to use. And then usually with that already, they are like with these guided meditations and the breath work or other chakra activations or toning. It's usually 2 hours are gone. If I'm cooperating with a friend, usually there's sound involved. So she uses who I'm mainly working with, a gong. And an aquaphone, which is it's bringing the sounds from the deep ocean, so you can also hear whale sounds and really like the deep. So you have the contrast of the solar gong, which is the male principle, which is shining through anything, cleansing your body through, and then the aquaphone, which is connecting you to your own waters, to your own emotions, and helping you transform and release stuff there. So you see, it's like it's a big variety possible, you know.
But it's interesting. You're introducing yin and yang, and you're kind of like helping people to access whichever they need from that, which is nice. It's kind of providing a table for people to then get what they need, I suppose.
And also, when I choose the topic of a cacao ceremony, before I ask the cards or I look in astrology, what are the dominant energies right now? And usually, shortly before, I get also insights about what will the ceremony be about, you know. For example, like a topic like healing the divine feminine and the divine male, so healing all the wounds relating to your male energy into a female energy, no matter if you're a man or a woman, you know, and bringing that into the ceremony. Stuff like this comes up then before, and then the ceremony gets uniquely designed about that topic.
Okay. Do you find big fluctuations when you move the ceremony from place to place in terms of what different types of bits of society, like European versus American, have you moved it around much like that?
Most of the ceremonies I've been doing in Berlin, but it's a very international audience.
All of my friends have gone there.
So it's pretty. I mean, in the scenes where this is where raw cacao is, it's already pretty international in Berlin, you know. It's rather about experienced people and not experienced people. So because then everything has to be tuned a bit of the techniques that are used and stuff like that. So. it's good to in the beginning. I usually do some warm up to catch the people where they are, to bring them out of their mind into their body, so they can actually open up more to the experience and not all the time, oh my God, what am I doing here, la 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 la, and judging it, you know.
Yeah.
So this is a very important step in everything. I found even just doing a workshop. Bring the people down from the mind into their body, so they can open. They can open up to the experience and are not all the time with their judging mind around and doubting what they're doing there.
And how often would people or should people do a cacao ceremony? Is it something people do as a ritual on a weekly basis, or is it something once a year, or do they just go to it when they feel they need something, some healing?
Exactly, when they feel the need. Answer the question. Or they want to connect with certain aspects of themselves. They want to reconnect with their creativity. There is no should. Like basically, you can drink raw cacao every day. Be aware you can get addicted to everything.
How often do you, like, for yourself? Obviously, you host cacao ceremonies. Do you get to indulge in that experience yourself, or how often do you do it yourself?
It's really irregular. Sometimes I have phases where I drink it for 5 days in a row. Then I don't drink it for 1, or I just drink it on a ceremony. Or then maybe I'm working at a cacao stand, you know. Then it's sometimes getting really excessive.
I can only imagine.
It's very like when I have the feeling, oh, now it's time, then you know I'm tuned to it, so I know, bam, and then it's there.
Great.
Sometimes I forget, even if I for a while not a ceremony, I forget a little bit about it, and then it suddenly is there again, calling me, hey, it's time.
That's nice. It's nice to have it in your toolkit.
What
are you gonna say? Oh, sorry. Cool. Yes, we probably should. Right. Yes, wrap it up. Sorry, that was terrible.
I was just aware
never garbled like that.
So if people are interested in coming to take part in a cacao ritual with you, or even any part of this universal alchemy whole plethora of stuff that you're doing around healing, how do they find you?
They can find me on Facebook if they put in Universal Alchemy, and then they can connect to me and see also the services I'm providing, you know, from tarot to theta healing and cacao ceremonies or energetic work. Some things also work, like tarot and theta healing work also via phone or video call stuff, you know. So, and the rest is more personal. You have to invite me to come over.
That's how it goes. Nice. Okay, listen, thank you so much for having the chat, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Great to meet you, man. Really nice energy. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. And as per usual, please like and subscribe. And pop your comments in below, any questions you have. And we'll obviously put into notes a little bit about Bodo and how you can find him as well. And what else? Find us on iTunes, find us on Spotify in a couple of days, find us on YouTube as well. And please continue to watch. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.